ごいことを聞いたみたいね。
凡人、身の程をわきまえよ。
価格守りし先行よ、来たれ。それやっ、
大地の墳は沈まれる。
Oh, god damn it. I was hoping to dodge into it, but man, I got smashed.
逃げ道は流れて。
千年無の雪辱を果たす。
はっ、
この地が貴様らの墓場となる。千年の怒りをしかとその身に受けるがよい。
聞く価値もない。せ雨雨瑠璃の月ヒュッ。
またみんなを守れなかった。
Yeah, I just swapped to him because I was like, eh, who cares if he dies. He's also like level 40, so like even one hit would kill him. I forgot that, I thought that the mark was character by character. So I thought, like, if I got hit, I could swap to another character and be fine. So, I was wrong. And you actually have to... You actually get the dot on all characters. Okay. So I have 80 80 stamina. That's enough for 2 rounds of Ascension materials. Oh, you're not maxed out. There we go. Topped off. So do you have all your shit? Am I done with you? Max level weapon. Okay, she's the full set. Cool. Yeah, I think she's... Let's actually look at her. But yeah, I might be able to unfavorite her. Let's see, so she's all... Yeah, not an amazing crit rate. I must have given her a crit rate circlet. Maybe I should have given her a crit damage one. Forget if... whatever. That's fine. She's an HP scaler, I think, right? Oh yeah, did I... her talents are fine. And yeah, it doesn't even really matter. Actually, does... Oh, actually, yeah, it doesn't actually explicitly say HP. So this is just attack percent. So she scales up attack. But yeah, so she's purely a, Okay, well then I can unfavorite her, I guess. I don't really need her. Don't really... Okay, cool. So I don't really care about her that much. Wait, how do I unfavorite her again? Oh yeah. For some reason I have to be on this menu to do it. Okay, so she's all maxed out. Then it's just these guys. So, should I do him? Should I max him out? Like, Dahlia's kind of meh. I don't really like Aethys' playstyle. I really dislike her playstyle. Same for Seth. Well, Sethos says I don't really... Yeah, like, I don't like his playstyle. Aoife, I'm just kind of meh. This guy, he's fine, but I just can't think of any actual utility I would ever have for him. I actively dislike hers. She's fine, but she's also like... I just can't think of any use she would have that I couldn't use another Animo for. And then him could be more useful because obviously he's designed around Lunar Crystallize. So obviously, it's... Oh wow, I don't have much of that. Okay, so I have materials to level him. I have a few materials to ascend him. Well, this should be it. Yeah, okay, so I'm tapped out. Not only can I not even level him next, either way, I still also need more materials to ascend him. So let's just do 2 runs of this guy.
この剣はわかるかい？歌よ錦となれ。
かかれ。どの目が出るかしら。
せい。や。は。さ。と。と。さ。さ。ふ。は。と。却下す。ここより登る。それ。俺が守るよ。この剣はわかるかい？左右ルコー。さい。
終わりね。
はっはっさとやささとはっ貫こう月のように永遠な権限。
Yeah, the build up for her is just kind of rough. It's like you just need so much setup. Realistically, I kind of want maybe no Shincho, maybe just Yelan, or maybe just Shincho and no Yelan. I'm not quite sure. I need an easier setup. Because it takes a while to get all their bursts activated. So it's like skill burst, skill burst, skill burst, and then finally Arlecchino again. It just takes like 10 seconds to get them all ready for Arlecchino to then start attacking. I guess it does make sense because basically by the time these guys run out of their burst, she's run out of run out of Bond of Life, so she's no longer infusing everything with Pyro, so she needs to swap anyway. And it does seemingly coincide with when her skill comes off cooldown again, so I can do skill, burst, skill, because her skill cooldown resets when she does her burst, so you can do a skill to get a free skill to get the damage of the skill, then immediately do a burst, then do your skill again, and then swap to let the skill improve itself. Ooh, yeah, let's try this one. This might be fun.
流れて三月よ輝く防衛モード起動塵となってください紅に染まって散りなさいファイヤー気をつけなさいほっはっやっほーよっと気をつけなさい次移して新月が来る打ち続けてねいい感じ
That's pretty fun. I did enjoy that. Yeah, honestly, I do really like the Lunar Crystal, because, like, it's the kind of thing where Geo is kind of fucked, basically. Is that, like, they were never really super good. You know? Geo was never really that good. But there weren't that many characters, so it was like, whatever, right? You just have a Geo here and there. Like, oh, Noelle wasn't super good. The main reason why Noelle wasn't good was simply because they, the cooldown of their skill was insanely high. So, like, their utility came from the fact that if their skill and burst were active, you heal 100% of the time. But the problem is her skill had like a 20 or 30-second cooldown, which is fucking insane. So it's like, so to put a shield on, and the shield doesn't last like that long. So the shield has like a duration of like 12 seconds, whereas her cooldown is like 28 seconds, or something like that. It is crazy, because then you're just kind of screwed, because you can't really, you can't really do anything. Now, it's fine for like a normal rotation, because usually you're kind of on a 30-second rotation, so it's not the end of the world. Especially if you don't need to use it, then it's like whatever. Oh, she's not one of my favorites. Where's my Geo? So if you actually look at it, yeah, it's a duration. Oh, it's 24 seconds, but it's, you know, as you can clearly see, its duration is half of its total cooldown. So basically, it's only 50% uptime. And of course, it is a shield, so if your shield breaks, then you just lose it early. So early on, when you didn't have really good, when you didn't have like her stacked with defense, the shield would pop early because it wasn't super strong, and you didn't like put skill points into it, all that sort of shit. So it just wasn't super good. And the fact that it had such a short duration and such a long cooldown. And especially because of the added bonus effect of, if you have your shield up while you're doing your sweeping time, that healing chance goes from 60% to 100. So it's like you kind of want to save it for when you have your burst up to use as healing. So it's just kind of there to keep you alive while you do your burst. 320%. So 320% my defense is actually really good. Because it's like 320% plus 320 plus 1970. So obviously 300% is going to be 9600. And then 20% of that is another 600. So 10,200. So basically I have a shield of 12,000 when she does it, which is pretty beefy because how much I stacked her defense. But yeah, it was just... And she was the only Geo at the time. And then Zhongli came out, and it's like, okay, Zhongli's shield was insanely good, and like that alone gave him the insane utility, where it's like, oh, okay, your shield is insane. That's fine, you know. Oops. You know. That's fine. Your shield is really good. That is your utility. And then they made him better by making his shield resist. I think they just changed Geo shields in general. just to be more resistant. Because before, all shields were like, oh, you resist your element much stronger than every other element, but then it's normal otherwise. So your shield would be, just whatever your shield value is. Like, so for Noelle, she has 10,000. She has a 12,000 HP shield. But if she, but against other geo attacks, it's 200% efficient. So it reduces damage by a lot. So, but basically, if you're ever in a fight against other creatures that only do geo damage, then that's 12,000 HP. Because really, you can multiply it by 2.5, and that's how much you can absorb, how much damage you could absorb from only geo attacks. And pretty much every other shield works like that too, right? Fire shield absorbs fire very well. Like each shield had its own advantage, where it's like, oh, if you know you're going to be fighting enemies that only do fire damage, then if you can get a fire shield user like Toma, then you can absorb 2.5 times more damage for the same shield. So the idea is that you want to match your shields. But the problem is there just weren't that many enemies that did geo damage. So your geo shield was basically not super helpful. And there weren't even that many geo users to begin with. So it's like, geo is all about like, oh, cool, like, it's only with this great shield. And it's like, and his shield was so good that it didn't matter that he didn't get any type advantage against attacks. But then they were like, you know what, fuck that. Let's just make geo shields just better shields all across the board. So geo shields like resist more damage from every damage type, including physical. So it's like, I think it's like 150%. So they resist 50% damage flat out. So if you have a geo shield on, you'll resist 50% of the damage, and then, or no, you resist your geo shield. No, it's like it. So maybe you resist 2/3 the damage. I think that's how it ends up. Because basically, whatever HP your shield has, you multiply it by 1.5, and that's the damage you can take. So I think it's you resist 30% of the damage. You resist 1/3 of the damage, and then the remainder 2/3 is reduced from your shield. Or you could just multiply your shield by 1.5, and you just take whatever damage they're doing is you just remove it from that 1.5 augmented shield. But that was the cool thing, is that now your geo shield was just more useful. Not as good, still is not as good as a perfectly aligned shield, because taking fire damage on a fire shield, resists even more. So it's a 2.5 amplification when you take this exact same damage type. But that made Geo just a little better across the board, so it's a better all-arounder shield. So if you're against enemies that do multiple damage types, which is just a far more common situation, then a Geo shield would be useful. And then they made Zhongli shield even better by also reducing resistances to other elements, and then they changed how Geo resonance worked. And then they even added Ito, where they're like, hey, cool, like, all your Geo have mostly been supports up until this point. We're going to give you Ito, who's going to be a Geo DPS to help you in mono Geo teams. But then, I don't know, like, every time I've had to use him, or I've been able to use him as part of any sort of fighting event where they just give you him for free, where it's like, okay, here's a fighting event. In this one, you want to do Geo damage, here's a free trial Ito, so you could use as part of this event. Every time I've used him, he just feels like so trashy. He feels so bad. He feels so insanely weak. Like, I'm doing all my other characters, and I'm just like for all the other fights, it's like, oh yeah, you use this party, use this party, use this party. Yeah, you're clearing it super quickly. Enemies seem to die super quickly. You use Ito, and it's like, enemies just take forever to fucking die. And maybe because I'm not used to him, I don't know how to buff him properly. I don't know the right rotation for, like, when to use Goro, skill, and burst, and all that shit to boost his defense a lot. Maybe that's it, right? But still, he just felt like shit. So it was like, here's an Ito that can help with that is useful for mono Geo teams, and here's some Geo boosters to use in mono Geo teams. But then it was still not great because it has the same problem that Freeze does, is that they don't provide any damage with their reaction, right? Freeze doesn't damage, it just CCs them. It freezes them, and then even against bosses, it just doesn't freeze them at all. So for small enemies, it's like, cool, they're frozen, they're stuck in place, nice. At least I'm not going to be taking damage during that time. But there was no additional damage, so that's why they fell. They weren't as good as other teams, because they just weren't able to do as much damage. Although Blizzard Destroyer does help, kinda, where it's like, yes, with the Cryo Resonance and the Blizzard Destroyer set, you're getting free boost to crit rate, which means if you stack a lot of crit damage, you're going to do more damage because you get a ton of free crit rate, so you're going to crit more often, and you're going to be able to stack, and you would naturally stack more crit damage to compensate. Like, now you don't need a crit rate circlet because of all the bonus crit rate you get from the Resonance and the Blizzard Destroyer set. You can just purely live off crit rate substats with a crit rate or crit damage circlet. So you get some slight damage boost from that, but it doesn't compensate for the fact that your reactions don't do damage, right? It doesn't make up for the fact that Vaporize does 1.5 times damage. Melts can do 1.5 for a reverse melt, 2.0 for 2 times the damage for a proper melt. It doesn't compensate for that shit. And then they made, Electro much better with Dendro, with aggravates and all that stuff that scale off of EM, does shitloads of damage. It was just better. So, and Geo had the same problem, is that Geo reactions, if they have any, so if obviously you're in a mono Geo team, you just can't react. So if they don't have an element, then you're not going to do any crystallizes. So you just have to rely on pure damage. Or if they are elemental, then your Geo attacks will get crystallized, but crystallizes don't really help you. They just provide you a little shield, which is nice and helpful because you take less damage. It's kind of like how Cryo is good to freeze, because yeah, cool, if they're frozen you can't take damage, but it doesn't boost your damage, right? Although there is an artifact set that says if you have a shield active, then you do more damage, but generally it's even then it's still not used. It's still not used. It's one of those leeway artifacts that existed right then and there, but I think most characters didn't use it. Because it's the kind of thing where I think its 2-piece set bonus was boosting. I think it boosted shield strength or something. 2-piece set boosted shield strength, and then the other for the 4-piece set boosted your shield. They boosted your damage while shield is active, which is okay, cool. If you're getting a lot of crystallizes, sure, you always have a shield active then. And the boost in shield strength means you're going to have a shield active more frequently. But the 2-piece doesn't directly increase your damage, and you still need a shield to do it. So it's you have to equip it on your DPS. So this has to replace whatever DPS set they would have. This isn't something you can put on your shielder to increase the damage of anyone with shields in your party. This is something that only increases damage if the wearer is shielded. So it wasn't great. Geo was in a bad spot for a while, and the Geo Resonance kind of made them do more damage, but just like Cryo teams, they have the problem that their reaction itself doesn't boost their own damage, for freeze teams. Obviously Cryo is still good in melts, but in freeze teams, it just didn't do anything. And the problem with the Geo is that there were no teams that were good, right? Any team you add a Geo to just adds Crystallize and nothing else. Whereas Cryo, there's 2 types of reactions with Cryo. You can get a freeze with Hydro or a melt with Pyro. Oh, and Superconduct. Technically, yeah, there's Superconduct. I forgot about that. But that's only reducing physical resistance, and there's not many physical teams, so it's not super helpful. Because they just kind of let physical fall by the wayside. Eula was the last main physical attacker, and they have not had a single one since then. And she came out in the first year of the game. She came out in the first year, and they just have literally never done another physical attacker since, whose primary damage is physical. They just have not. So Superconduct is completely useless. But yeah, so... And then what they did for Freeze they added Escoffier. They're like, hey, cool. If you have Escoffier and you have a freeze team with her in it, now you reduce resistances to Hydro and Cryo by 55%. That's a huge damage increase. That basically makes up for the fact that they don't trigger reactions. Or their reaction, basically makes up for the fact that they don't do damage with their reaction. So it's like, okay, well, whatever. Because like that's the thing, even just having her on the field, it's not like they have to be frozen. It's not like they have to be afflicted with Cryo or Hydro. It's just, no, just having her on the team reduces that resistance when her skill hits, which you should always have her skill active and hitting. So it's like, just free damage. And then she provides additional buffs as you get more constellations for her, making freeze teams even stronger. So basically, her buffs are designed to make up for the fact that freeze teams don't do damage with their reactions, to compensate for that lack of reaction damage. And Geo never really had something like that. Like they had Ito, where it's like, oh cool, we'll make a team designed around defense scaling Geo characters, but it was still super weak. Like they honestly needed something like Escoffier to reduce Geo resistance by a shitload and boost like crit damage of Geo characters by a lot. You know, maybe then that would be fine. Or some sort of buff, like if you have a crystallized shield on, or if you have a crystal, if you do a crystallized reaction or pick up a crystal, that you get like a crit damage buff, something like that, maybe for mono Geo teams or something. Well, maybe not mono, because then you wouldn't be able to crystallize if you don't have another element. But you know, if they had a mono Geo team buffer like Escoffier that reduced Geo resistance by a fuckload to compensate, then that could have been fine, you know. But what they ended up doing is they threw in Navia. So it's like, hey, cool, let's have Navia, a Geo user who scales off attack. So it's like, okay, she's not like a classic defense scaling Geo user. She scales off attack, and she revolves around crystallizes. So you don't really want, so she's not designed for a mono Geo team. You want to put her in 2 Geos and 2 other elements, so she can get a lot of crystallizes, because she gets a super souped up skill that when she has three crystals, or plus, I think you can have up to 6. But if you have all 6 crystals, her skill does shitloads of damage. So it's like, okay, cool. So you're making crystallize useful. Now, crystallize in and of itself isn't useful, but she can make the crystals useful to her. So it didn't really revitalize Geo at all, but it was like, okay, well, there are some characters that have Geo constructs, like Zhongli's Pillars, Albedo, Chiori was introduced around that time too, clearly designed to help Navia to produce a lot of crystallizes. So it's like, okay, cool, you know. But I think what we just had now with Zebai and Columbina, the lunar crystallize, I think that's really good. I think that actually has properly revitalized Geo, because now Geo has a use and is very useful now. It's like all you need is a Columbina on the team, or a Zebai with any other water user. Although realistically, you probably want Zebai and like Ino, so you get the full Ascendant and Lean buff, and then you can have another Geo. But yeah, I mean, the Zebai also is defense scaling, so it's like, yeah, you just do that, you know, a Columbina or an Ino, and then Zebai, or Columbina and Ino, and then 2 other Geo users. So it definitely makes crystallize itself, it makes the crystallize reaction a damaging reaction at that point, which is like, okay, cool. So that's pretty cool. So I'm glad they did that. And it's not as restrictive as like Escoffier. Like Freeze Team needs Escoffier. You cannot have a Freeze Team without Escoffier, because the difference in damage is insane. Like Skirk is all well and good, but a Skirk without a Skirk, like, and realistically there aren't that many like Freeze Teams that you would want. Like Skirk is the main DPS, Aika is the main DPS. Those are pretty much the main. Your freeze teams are going to revolve around either one of them, because they're the only ones who are kind of designed as freeze team people. But either way, you still want Escoffier, because Escoffier's buffs are, you know, drastically changes the team's performance.
一番不安定だった部分はもう終わ
And the fact that she's a healer is just insanely useful.
計画通り普通の人ももちろんニコが引き続き見張ってるから安心してね。私はそうは思わないかも。正確にシャボン玉の中の物語に登場したファルカは実際はナドくらいにでもだからといってトワリンが死の運命から逃れられるわけじゃない。
けどあれはもっと後、トワリンの封印が解かれた時に
パイモン、そういう疑問については一つ忠告しておくと、起こり得ない運命が見えたら
Interesting.
きっと素晴
It's
らし
actually,
い
yeah, so if
すっごくひどいことも目にすることになる。
so if it wasn't Varka, who would have been the one, or maybe it was Venti. Maybe Venti would have died. Because like Venti was there to help. And so Venti would have been there. So maybe Venti himself would have died. Maybe the only reason he sealed him, maybe he sealed him back in the day because he couldn't bring himself to kill him. But after he escapes again and caused havoc, maybe Venti would have sacrificed himself to kill him once and for all.
でもね、そんなことは起こり得ないし、私たちが生きてるこの世界、
おお
偽物に見えなかったからシャボン玉。毎日教会を行き来するうち、私の持ち物に汚れが付着してしまって、それがうっかり魔法なんて、そんな恥ずかしいミスするわけないでしょ。でもあなたの感覚は正しいのよ。あれはアビスの
つまりアビスの力は外から来たんじゃなくて、何にもない。
I mean, that does make sense to a degree, right? Like, 'cause where did the abyss power come from to begin with, right?
アビスは謎多き存在だからね。あなたたちも何度も関わってきたでしょ。
It also could be like one of those things where it's like abyssal power could be like the amalgamation of like negative emotions, you know, something like that. Whereas like maybe in the beginning of the universe there was no abyssal power, or maybe there was just power, right? And then when sentient creatures came into existence, their negative energy influenced it, and some of the power, you know, got turned into abyssal power that fed off the negative emotions of the sentient life forms of the universe. It's very similar to Warhammer 40k's The Warp, right? Like like the Warp is just kind of like the collective unconsciousness of the universe, right? So it was neither really good or bad. But the birth of Slaanesh tells you that like, oh shit, you know, if so much fucked up shit happens, you can actually like change the makeup of the Warp, right? The Eldar were doing so much fucked up shit that it basically corrupted a portion of the Warp and birthed Slaanesh, right? So, and the Chaos Gods themselves are just like, you know, their concepts are just kind of like emotions and, you know, they're like, not really like primordial forces, but like, you know, like, Khorne is like basically the god of war, right? You know, Nurgle is the god of disease. Well, like disease is just present everywhere. Rot, decay, like that exists in the universe even now, right? There is rot and decay now. You know, it's just like it's just kind of like the forces of nature to a degree, right? Like they're just the embodiments of forces of nature, which obviously kind of like can still fuck people over, right? Like it can still fuck over the living. Like, you know, as a human, you get sick, right? That could be, you know, Nurgle's rot. You know, that could be just a Nurgle's power. You getting sick. Gangrene is quite literally rot and decay on a living body, right? So it's like these things do happen, and then like war, you know, is present all over the place. So it's not crazy to think that there would be, you know, a primordial force of war, and then like. Sineach is like is about knowledge, the pursuit of knowledge, you know, stuff like that. So it's like you know, all, and then of course Slanesh is like lust and shit like that. So it's like, you know, all these like primordial emotions and you know, because like, you can think about like the seven deadly sins to a degree. Some obviously make sense, right? Like you could say Korn is wrath, Slanesh is lust, Nurgle is sloth, perhaps. I mean, it's not exactly like that, but and then there's not really Sanish's one. It's like no, it doesn't really have. You say maybe greed or envy or something like that. Maybe greed for knowledge. You know, to a degree. Obviously, they're not like one for one things, but they are just kind of like showing that, like, yes, they do have some loose relation to the seven deadly sins, which are just like, you know, negative emotions that humans have. So it's just like, yeah, it's not surprising that the negative emotions would, you know, manifest in some form in the collective unconsciousness of the universe. So it could be that that's what the Abyss power is that the Abyss is just like the negative emotions of the universe made manifest.
アビスの本質はすべての起こり得なかった運命の憎悪である。
Oh, that's interesting. I find this weird though. Like the hatred carried by all fates that will not come to pass. It's like, yeah, but like only one fate comes to pass. So it's like, so it's just that means like it's just going to build up and build up until the world is destroyed. Like I don't like that interpretation because it also means that like there's nothing we can do, right? If it's the hatred carried by all the fates that will not come to pass, and as time progresses, more and more fates are not going to come to pass, then at a certain point, like the universe is just going to be destroyed by this hatred, and there's nothing you can do about it because like you can't make the fates come to pass because it's just the very nature of our branching fates is that one gets chosen, and that is our present.
この世界には相反することがたくさんある。ある物事が起こる裏では別の可能性が消えてるのよ。ほんの小さな例を挙げれば、今日の昼食に鶏肉のスイートフラワー漬け焼きを食べたわ。もちろん大きく世界を変えてしまうようなことだってあり得るの。例えば私の親友レインドットがアビスどうしてよりにもよってあの子たちが消えなければいい。
Interesting. The way she phrases that, my friend's Brenda. It makes it seem like she knew her at the time, but I don't know. Or, did she befriend her before or after she made that decision?
なるほど。大体わかったぞ。
そうね。今回は過去を再現。
I mean, I also think this is stupid, right? Oh, it's a hatred born from not being chosen. Yeah, but that's like personifying the fates, right? It's personify. Like, fates don't have emotions. Fates just are, right? These are the events that could have happened and didn't. Like, they don't have, like, the events that happened or didn't happen don't have emotions in and of themselves, right? Now, you could say that it's all the positive and negative emotions from the fate that wasn't chosen just gets dumped into a pit, and the negative emotions take over, and maybe some of the fates are filled with more negative emotions. But like to say that the fates themselves have emotion is a little stupid.
それでアビスの力が牙をむき出した。それは生まれることを望まず、大したことじゃないけど、教会ではこういうことが自分が奪われた被害者だ。アビスは執念に満ちていて、手段を選ばずこの世界にやってくる。だから私たちは大切な生活と。
Oh, I see. So when they kept saying the border, I assumed they were talking about the border of Tavos to the rest of the universe. But they might be talking more about a metaphysical barrier between the fate that was chosen and the fates that weren't. So they're maintaining the border to keep... Oh. So yeah, I guess then the Abyss could be anywhere, right? It could any place the Abyss exists in the universe could just be them breaking out of the metaphysical realm of where they were into this universe. I don't know, but then what's with the false sky, right? Like, is there a reason for the false sky?
そして現実っていうのは無数の可能
Is it just an extra layer of protection? But like, and maybe that's it. Maybe it is just a way to insulate themselves. And maybe the Abyss has broken out into the universe somewhere else, and is now flooding the universe. So the false sky is to protect Tavot from the Abyss that's leaked out into the universe, while these guys also protect the Abyss from breaking into, creating new holes into the world.
アリスさん、ここにいたのか。申し訳ないが、騎士団の規則に従って。
あら、どうして？魔法、あれは私だけの落ち度じゃないはずよ。
そうじゃない。偵察騎士から星落としの湖の近くで爆弾の被害を受けた魚の群れが大量にこれは明確に禁止されている行為だ。
早く逃げて。
クレイはもう中だ。まさか大魔王が。
旅人、さようなら。
Okay, so there should be a fourth quest. See, how much time do I have? 42 minutes. Fuck. Okay, maybe I won't be doing it. I don't know. I don't know how long the last quest is going to be, though. Wait. Is it the last quest? I could have sworn I saw two. I could have sworn I saw four. Oh, wait, no, there's only three. Oh, okay, never mind, that is it. Okay. Maybe, yeah, maybe it was the last one. Maybe it was the last, Hey.
トワリンが川に落ちた。
トワリンほどの巨体が飛び出したのに、壁じゃなく。
二人とも部屋の修理と。ひひ。また。
Okay, so I gotta find four discrepancies. I think I had found some before. Oh, okay. So yeah. So the Cleese statue counted as one. Cleese, okay, so it did count as one. Okay, good. Because I had found this before. Yeah, I completed. Okay. Because I do remember that. Okay, well that definitely is one. So let me just look around here real quick. See anything else obvious? Oh, cool. So I do have my, yeah, it did seem like I must have to be closer, though. Yeah, there we go. Wait, what?
ああ、剣術交流の誘いを受けたんだ。もともとエウルアと手合わせしてみて、セピロス騎士団は体験の扱いにも長けていると知れた。
ありがとう。フォンテーヌの決闘代理人の剣術も素晴らしかったわ。少し手合わせしただけなのに。
確かにな。ここは架空の世界だから。
That's nice. So we get to see Eula. Who obviously, I mean, Eula has long since kind of been memed about simply because she just never appears on the banner. And it's understandable because, like, while she is an interesting character, just physical has fallen by the wayside. Like, physical is not super useful, And it has the same problem that Geo and Freeze team had, is there is no reaction that physical does. So, like, she does a lot of damage in her big Nova thing, but it's like she doesn't do... It's not being... You can't amplify her burst at all. It is just pure damage. So... And then there's just so many enemies that have a physical resistance, too. Like, the robots all have a physical resistance.
それとここにある装置が自動的にバドルドーはこの地の伝統だそうだな。
But yeah, I mean, this game is just really, really good at incorporating old content, right? So, like, we have Clarence. Like, I never even expected her at all. Like, she's a Fontanian. Like, we haven't really seen her recently at all, too. Because we haven't really gone back to Fontaine recently. So it's cool that Clarence shows up. It's nice that, you know, in this whole Knights of Favonius celebration, that Eula, one of the Knights of Favonius, shows up as well. So it's like, you know, it's nice that when they do these events in various countries, they make sure to include the characters from that country, and then even have some random ones from other countries appear to kind of like refresh our memory and be like, oh yeah, they exist, you know. It's like, don't worry, we haven't forgotten about these characters. Like, they're totally here. They still have their lives. They're still doing their thing. It just makes for a more immersive world, and that's just more enjoyable to play in. That's why I kind of like, I don't know, like Neverness to Everness doesn't feel immersive. It's a nice sandbox and it feels fun to play in, but it's not really an immersive world because like you can't really interact with the NPCs. Like the world is huge, right? The world is huge. It's not super easy to explore either, because like climbing up buildings is a humongous pain in the ass. So they really need to like figure out a way to allow normal people to actually like just go up buildings faster. Because like there's so many buildings, of course you're gonna want to climb up them, and you can. It just takes time, and it's slow and not fun, which is like bad. Like, when you have that many buildings, you should make building climbing super easy, so that you encourage exploration. But like, there's no real purpose in actually like exploring. Like you're just kind of like finding all the things to do and just like beelining it straight for those things. It's not really about like exploring, and the world doesn't really feel like. It just feels like empty to a degree, because like one, it is huge, and two, like while there might be NPCs like walking around, it just doesn't feel like there's enough NPCs for how populated the city should be, based on its size and building density. So, and they don't really say anything. You can't really interact with them, so they just feel like mannequins in a city where you're just like, okay, well, it's not like. So it's like, it just lacks a level of immersion, which makes it really hard for me to get into. Because exploration doesn't feel super fun. It feels a little more tedious than it should be. And there are some interesting aspects to the world. Like, I think the idea of the anomalies are interesting because it allows them to do some like really cool things. It allows them to do some really cool things with stuff. You know, it allows them to like do a lot of really cool arenas, right? Where it's like, oh, hey, you want to go into this place? Yeah, sure. It doesn't have to make sense because you're going into this like fake anomaly world. So there are some aspects to that. Obviously, that's also going to ruin kind of the immersion. Like, it's fine because it makes sense in the setting of the world, but it also like I don't know. It just seems like, yeah, it's not as compelling to me. And the story doesn't seem as interesting. Like, it's not as interesting to me either. Like, it started out kind of cool, but then it's just like, yeah, we're kind of special, but then we're like just thrown in with a group of people, and they're all just like, they're all way too silly. Like one or two serious people, but it's like you're thrown into a group of children, and they mostly act like children, and you're like, wait, like we're supposed to be doing some serious stuff, like, but these are all children. So it's like really hard to take it seriously. Although I did kind of stop near the beginning, so maybe it does shake out to be more interesting as the characters develop. But it's just like, like Mint Mint is like designed to be a ditzy girl, and then you just have these other girls who are just like also kind of equally silly and stupid, and then you have like you have like the two adults who are like, okay, they're definitely more mature, but they also don't say as much, and even then, like they don't take a lot of things too seriously. It's not like they're reeling everyone in all the time. They're just kind of going along with the flow, which is like they're just I don't know.
これを使ってもバドルドを撃つことになる
Maybe
だろう
maybe it'll be better, and like also I think on some level I didn't really feel like working too hard at it because I think this was the beta, and they're going to reset all progress. So whatever I do is just going to be reset, and I think that kind of looms over my head, making me think I don't really want to do this. But yeah, there were just a few elements like I could definitely see myself like having fun in the game. It's not like it's a bad game per se, but like when I'm playing it, I'm just like, you know what? It just feels like some of the exploration content just felt a little too tedious, and that's kind of like one of the things I like to do in games like that. And if I didn't have any other games to play, then I think I would probably love it. Like if I wasn't playing Genshin, if I wasn't playing Zenless or Honkai or Final Fantasy, all live service games and an MMO, that constantly give me things to do. If I had just like if I wasn't playing any of those games and all I played was single player games and this one popped up, yeah, sure, I might put a lot of time into it. But the fact is my time is limited, so it's just like I enjoy exploring the other worlds better. Well, Zenless doesn't really have an exploration. Same for Honkai. The exploration is relatively limited. But Genshin feels fun to explore. And that the level of the fun they and Never Just Never just doesn't have the fun feeling that Genshin does from exploring stuff.
剣の攻撃範囲
それならあなたにも
Okay, it must be down this way, right? It's like because there's nothing. Because like there's Klee, there's that one there, there's that one over near there. There has to be something around here, right? What is that? Oh, the Boreas sword. That's definitely not supposed to be there. Nice. Oh, okay, gotta get closer. Also, I need to see the full body of it. Oh, hey, there's someone next to it, too. Dude, get the fuck up! Oh, I see. I gotta actually take a picture. Oh, so it's like kind of like how... it's kind of like how I had to take a picture of the Dodoko Fortress before. So I might have been able to see Clorinde and Eula there, but because I took a picture from below the ridge, they might have not been visible.
熱い女ルピカを連れて行く女やめこの件しばらく
わかったぞ。アリスは北風の狼だからアリスは代わりに剣の原因ってことは北風の狼の試練がレザーの試練になっ
戦うルピカ守る
やっぱりな。
偽物
ああ
わからない
That was fun. I enjoyed that. I also like the fact that they no, I can't. I was hoping they would say. I was hoping like I could interact with the door and hear Clea and her mother talking inside. Okay, but I'm going to go ahead and call it here. Taking up a little earlier than normal, but... Actually, wait. Let me get this out of the way real quick. Yeah, I gotta do this. It's a shame that the touch grass one has been removed, because that was the easiest one to complete. This one's pretty easy, too. I'm not even sure why the touch grass one was destroyed. Maybe it's something that... Maybe the creator's banned, they destroy its world. Or maybe the creator just destroyed the world themselves, but it seems like... Why don't you just leave it up, right? Like, there's no real need to destroy it. Unless maybe they destroyed it so they could create it from scratch again. I just need to look for it again. But yeah, it is a shame. Like, it's there, but I can't actually... See, it's been removed. Or does not exist. It is a shame. But it was super simple, because all you had to do is go in and then immediately leave, and you got a full credit. So it was a really easy, fast way. It was the fastest way to, like, blast through credits. Or to blast through the Battle Pass. Because the Battle Pass, I mean, you needed three different ones. So having the quiz one was super useful. There we go. This is also pretty good, too, although... There is a timer before when you can exit. Top 85, yeah. So wow, I got really lucky. When I logged in yesterday, I got in the point like 1% or something. Because I guess they just had to reset the leaderboard or whatever. But yeah, for this you need 2. But for the actual Wonderland Collection... Wait, that's not it. For this, you need to do 3 a week, and then 15 total. So 3 different ones, so it's like, ah, shit. So that's why the touch grass one, the quiz one, and then just the third one, the tycoon one, any one that you can get into and out of super quick, they are great, because then you can then just quickly do them over and over again for the 15 a week, and not have to worry about that shit. But anyway, now I'm going to go ahead and call it. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.